that we treat. And at my hospital, we do treat all kinds of animals, not just cats and dogs, but also pocket pets, anything that will walk through the door, we say. And I think we see a wide variety of animals that react differently and have stress signals during fireworks. So definitely birds, like you said, parrots are very smart, and they will experience potentially, with this unknown very loud and frightening thing going on outside, they will definitely show signs of stress that might include them vocalizing or becoming destructive or just acting kind of not like themselves. Any behavior changes are possible. So we can see that with parrots. I think other pocket pets like hamsters and guinea pigs might be more likely to hide and try to get away from the loud external sounds.
Staten Islander News is here today with Dr. Wasi Ashraf. So, Dr. Wasi Ashraf is the medical director of Veg ER for Pets in Williamsburg. A Maryland native, Dr. Ashraf discovered her passion for emergency medicine while working at a specialty referral hospital in New York City. Before joining Veg, she practiced at an emergency hospital in Charlottesville, Virginia, where she gained experience treating a wide range of species, including exotic pets, farm animals, wildlife, dogs, and cats. Her professional interests include endoscopy, soft tissue surgery, and internal medicine. Dr. Ashraf is committed to providing compassionate, high quality emergency care while supporting the growth and development of her veterinary team. Outside of the hospital, Dr. Ashraf is dedicated to animal rescue and fostering. She shares her home with two rescue pets, a cat and a dog, and takes pride in helping animals find their forever homes. So, good morning, Dr. Ashraf. It's good to have you with us.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
So, today we're going to kind of be talking about fireworks and a lot of animals, a lot of companion animals, especially dogs and cats and some birds and other animals really fear fireworks. So we're going to kind of talk about how people can help their companion animals to deal with the upcoming fireworks celebration that's going to be going on next weekend. So if you could talk a little bit about why dogs fear fireworks and whether some breeds are more susceptible than others.
Yeah. So one of the main reasons why dogs fear fireworks is because there are a lot of things that they already find frightening. There's very loud and unpredictable noises. There's new smells, flashes of light, vibrations. Dogs who are afraid of things like lightning and thunderstorms, they often are also afraid of fireworks. So if you have a new rescue or if you've noticed any kind of anxiety behaviors in your dogs around big storms, they're very likely to also be afraid of fireworks. And dogs are just generally a lot more sensitive to these types of stimuli, to these types of loud noises than people. So for us, even though it feels like a fun celebration and it's great to be out there and seeing all of the lights and the fireworks, it's very overwhelming for dogs. Um, there aren't necessarily specific breeds that are more prone to fear or anxiety than others, but I will say that in my experience, sometimes our bigger dogs, like shepherds and huskies, they tend to be a lot more reactive to fireworks. And sometimes it's our little dogs, like our chihuahuas and our smaller sized dogs, that tend to be a little bit braver. But either way, it's possible for any size dog and any breed to be afraid or develop anxiety during this time of year and during any kind of loud celebration.
Okay. And do cats experience the same fear and anxiety, and maybe they just don't show it, or
Yeah, that's a good question. So cats can definitely also become stressed due to fireworks, but they tend to be a little bit more stoic. They'll display behaviors a little bit differently. Cats tend to be more likely to hide, or maybe they will skip a meal. And they tend to be more likely to possibly look for escape routes. So just making sure that your windows and your doors are tightly sealed can be helpful. But I do think that cats also can experience anxiety and fear from fireworks. Obviously, they tend to be inside during the event, so it's a little bit better and safer for them to begin with, but they will sometimes just become more withdrawn during this time.
okay. Yeah, and I was actually talking to a relative of mine who has horses, And apparently the horses run around the paddocks and they get very, very stressed and upset. And we used to have, I know people who have had birds, like parrots seem to be very afraid. And sometimes some hamsters are, and some hamsters are not. Like, because I used to have hamsters growing up, and some of them were like, oh, this is nothing. And some of them were like, oh my gosh, I have to make a new house or something, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
think that, yeah. No, I was just gonna say, I think that all range of different species that we treat, and at my hospital, we do treat all kinds of animals, not just cats and dogs, but also pocket pets, anything that will walk through the door, we say. And I think we see a wide variety of animals that react differently and have stress signals during fireworks. So definitely birds, like you said, parrots are very smart, and they will experience potentially, with this unknown very loud and frightening thing going on outside, they will definitely show signs of stress that might include them vocalizing or becoming destructive or just acting kind of not like themselves. Any behavior changes are possible. So we can see that with parrots. I think other pocket pets like hamsters and guinea pigs might be more likely to hide and try to get away from the loud external sounds.
cool. And so, what can pet owners do now? So, this is actually going to be coming out the weekend before the 4th of July. So, it gives people some time to prepare. So, what can people who have, dogs, cats, or other animals do to prepare for July 4th? This could include environmental modifications, behavior strategies, calming products, whatever you guys would recommend.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the best advice I can give is don't wait until the day of to start, preparing. I think that for those animals that we know already have a history of anxiety, it's a great idea to get ahead of it, call your primary care vet, and talk to them right now about medications and behavioral modifications that can be made ahead of time. Some of the things that sometimes we will prescribe anti-anxiety medications for certain dogs and cats who tend to be a little bit more anxious. And as far as other things that can be done, making sure that their microchip and their ID tags are up to date, making sure that, you're creating a safe and comfortable home environment where they can feel safe. I would recommend not bringing them to these types of gatherings, like keep your dogs at home. Potentially, the night of doing things like putting on a white noise machine or putting on some music, keeping the TV on, just to make sure that they're not being fully exposed to all of these loud external sounds. These are all things that you could do. And then there are other products out there. The Thunder shirt is a popular one that dog owners will use usually during thunderstorms, but it has the same calming effect. It's like having a weighted blanket, kind of helps keep them a little bit more comfortable during the fireworks themselves. Um, and another thing you can do is the day of. Sometimes dogs will develop more anxiety when they haven't had enough exercise. So taking your dog out for a really long walk, providing a lot of exercise in the day prior to the fireworks beginning, making sure they're done with bathroom breaks before going out. I think these are all things that can help.
Right, right. And if someone was to, let's say, have a room in their house that they know is the quieter room, like maybe like a den that's subground or something like that, maybe they might want to put their dog or cat in that room, or if they have a kennel with a lot of pillows or something like that that they could put around it. Do you think like something like that might help too?
Yeah, absolutely. So if there is a quieter room or a den, maybe a room that doesn't have any windows, that might be a good place for that pet to be for the night. Also, if dogs who are more comfortable in their kennels, you can definitely offer them like a nice comfy space, somewhere where they feel really safe, is probably the best place for them to spend the night. Other products that they could also use, there are some pheromone plugins. Feel Away is the one that we recommend for cats. And then there's another version for dogs as well. And these kind of replicate calming signals that you can just plug into your wall or spray the product around. And that can also potentially help some dogs and cats.
Cool. And you had mentioned not taking your dogs or cats out to these parties and events where they're going to hear them even more. But is there reasons why they should stay indoors just completely on that whole night?
Yeah, a lot of the time, what we actually see during the 4th of July, we see an increase in dogs getting lost. A lot of the time, Dogs and cats can escape from their owners during these events and they can become lost. They can run into other dangers. I think a lot of the time during the 4th of July, we also have barbecues and big parties. And especially here in New York City, we often will see rooftop parties. And we have seen injuries from trauma, from animals kind of jumping off the roof or off of a balcony, or ingesting things that they shouldn't at the party themselves. So they might ingest toxic elements. They could eat onions or garlic, or they could eat anything that they're not supposed to while they are attending these parties. So there's a wide variety of dangers from these types of events beyond just the fear and anxiety from the fireworks. But the main reason I would say to not go to fireworks displays would be the amount of anxiety that you're inducing in these animals and the fact that they definitely could become lost.
Okay. Um, and so what are some of the signs of severe anxiety that might warrant veterinary attention?
Yeah, so if sometimes dogs will start drooling excessively, they'll start shaking and panting. Sometimes they will experience kind of attention-seeking behaviors. If they get to a point where they are panting very excessively to the point where they develop like respiratory distress or difficulty breathing, that would warrant a trip to the emergency room. But if at any point you're concerned that they are experiencing like a severe anxiety attack during these events, you can always call Veg ER for pets. We actually, you can actually call and speak with a doctor and get advice about what to do, whether this does warrant a visit to be seen on an emergency basis, or if there's something else you can do at home. You could definitely, give your local veg a call and see if there's some advice for your particular pet. But I do think that if they get to a point where they're panting excessively and showing like very severe signs of having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, then veterinary attention might be warranted.
Right. And if you could talk a little bit about the importance of dogs wearing identification tags, and I know there are some new ones that have like QR codes and things like that. Why would that be important for dogs to have, dogs and cats, or are they for both dogs and cats, the ID
Yeah.
tags?
Yeah, so you can definitely have ID tags for both dogs and cats, and it would be a good idea to have a collar that has that information. A lot of people have the physical tags on their pets' collars already that lists their phone number and their address. Um, but sometimes those things can fall off. And if you have the QR code, it can also be really helpful. So if another person finds that pet, they can scan it and find all the information so they can help that pet be reunited with their family. Traditionally, a lot of animals that come from shelters and rescues, they also have a microchip embedded already in their under their skin. So should an external collar fall off, this can be really helpful because anybody can drop off a pet to any hospital or animal care facility where they can scan the microchip and find the identifying information. I think what happens sometimes is we worry that the microchip information isn't up to date. So another thing that families can do at home is just making sure logging on and seeing if they can make sure all of their information is up to date. But I think that those identifying features are really important, especially at a time where we know that there are a lot more cases of dogs getting lost.
Okay. And just I wanted to kind of mention for context of why these, why dogs, cats, and all of those animals might be experiencing so much stress. So there was a film done a couple of years back. Actually, I think it came out this last year called Checkpoint Zoo, which was basically on the border between Ukraine and Russia when Russia started the war was a zoo with 2,000 animals in it. And they kind of, for some reason, they had cameras there that were like just like surveillance cameras, and they were showing what was happening when the bombs were going off. So these animals are kind of seeing it as bombs going off rather than as something fun or some kind of celebration. They don't understand the people who are cheering aren't screaming, you know, stuff like that. So just like that's kind of what they're experiencing. They're thinking they're in like a war or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very unclear, even though this is a joyous and a time to celebrate for us, to them it just seems like something dangerous is happening. And I think that, they're probably just in their fight or flight mode whenever we have this type of experience. And it's just very fear-inducing, and very scary to not know what's going on and hear these loud sounds all around you.
Right. So is there anything else that you would like to add today about this topic?
Yeah, I think that the biggest takeaway that I can leave you with is that it's just really important that you get ahead of it, because I do think that sometimes the holidays will creep up on us super fast, and you don't want to be caught off guard when the fireworks start going off or celebrations start going underway, and your pets are experiencing this type of anxiety. So definitely talk to your vet beforehand. And the other thing I would say is, don't give any medications at home that weren't prescribed by a veterinarian. Sometimes people will be inclined to give human anti-anxiety medications, and those can be very dangerous for dogs. There are some human products that we do prescribe for patients, but for veterinary patients, but they need to be prescribed by a veterinarian because they are very specific for that breed and for that pet, dosed by weight. And the formulations are also the veterinary specific ones. So just making sure that if you do give any medications, that they were prescribed, and that you have a plan in place before the celebrations begin.
Oh, awesome. Well, I really appreciate your taking the time to meet with us today, and I think that our audience will find this very useful.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.